Hi everyone and welcome to Tech Cravers. Today we're diving into another exciting product from Anbernic. This is the Anbernic RG40XX H, and I've officially given up hope that Anbernic will ever change the way they name their handhelds. It seems we'll just have to live with their unique naming conventions. As you probably know, Anbernic has been churning out new handhelds at a rapid pace, and some people feel it's happening a bit too quickly. On a personal level, I can agree with that sentiment, but as a handheld enthusiast with a YouTube channel where I showcase these kinds of products, I also find it pretty exciting. Anyway, the RG40XX H came out about a month after the release of the RG Cube, and if you remember, the RG35XX SP was released just a month before the Cube. Now, while I'm testing this one, images have been released of the upcoming RG40XX V. And typically, the V versions are just vertical variants of the H versions, but this time it seems like Anbernic is aiming to create a product with a bit more of a premium feel. But we'll have to dive into that in another video. For now, let's jump into this one. The RG40XX H can be seen as a sort of a successor to the RG35XX H, a handheld that I never got around to reviewing. Interestingly, both devices are powered by the same H700 chip. However, despite sharing this core component, there are some key differences between the Anbernic RG40XX H and the RG35XX H. First off, the RG40XX H boasts a larger 4-inch screen compared to the 3-inch screen on the 35XX H. The port configurations have also been updated, as the RG40XX H comes with 2 USB ports, 1 HDMI port, and a headphone jack located at the bottom, whereas the 35XX H places the headphone jack at the top. Another noticeable change is the button placement. On the RG40XX H, the start and the select buttons have been moved to the lower right side, while these buttons are positioned at the top on the RG35XX H. Additionally, the RG40XX H features RGB lighting for the sticks, a detail not found on the 35XX H. And when it comes to battery life, the RG40XX H is equipped with a slightly smaller 3200 mAh battery compared to the 35 mAh battery on the 35XX H. Finally, the back panel of the RG40XX H is missing the rubber grips that are present on the 35XX H, which may affect the overall feel in your hands. As you already figured out, I received the blue version of the RG40XX H, and I'd be lying if I said it was the best looking one in my opinion. It's definitely the most eye-catching, but part of me feels it looks a bit too childish, kind of like the pink version of the RG Cube. If I were ordering an RG40XX H today, I'd probably go for the all-black version instead. And speaking of ordering, when you receive your new device, the unboxing experience is pretty much what you expect from an Anbernic product, with one notable exception. For the first time in, well, I can't remember when, there wasn't a screen protector included in the box. But at least we get the usual quick start guide and a charging cable. When it comes to the physical design and button layout, it feels like Anbernic has finally come to their senses by abandoning parallel shoulder buttons and triggers on their horizontal handhelds, which is a very welcome change. Even though the triggers on the RG40XX H aren't exactly top-notch, they're clicky and have no travel at all, I'm confident they'll do the job just fine for classic retro games. Something that disappoints me, however, is seeing that Anbernic has reverted to their old NES-style D-pad on this model, instead of using the Sega-inspired D-pad from the RG Cube. That one felt absolutely perfect for handhelds like this, and it's a shame they didn't stick with it, but I guess you can't have everything. On the bright side, the face buttons feel large and solid, which is great considering the overall size of the handheld. Plus, the thumbsticks, as I said before, have customizable RGB lighting, and we all know how important that is. But what about performance on this bad boy? Well, by now we have a solid understanding of what the all-winner H700 chip brings to the table. After all, the RG40XX H is the 6th handheld to feature this chip by now. For those who aren't familiar, this means that you can comfortably play anything up to Dreamcast games with a bit of PSP and N64 games mixed in. That said, I definitely wouldn't recommend trying to push the limits, as you likely won't have a great experience. As long as you know what this device is capable of, you won't be disappointed however. So no, you won't be playing God of War or any other demanding PSP game here, but I did spend quite a bit of time enjoying Wave Race 64 here, and speaking of N64, some games run pretty well while others perform poorly or don't run at all. But the thing is, you're not buying the RG40XX H for its performance with newer systems. There are plenty of other handles for that. The real selling point of the RG40XX H is the large 4-inch screen, which you get despite the low price tag. And that's exactly why I think the RG40XX H is an excellent purchase for most people looking to play GBA, SNES, PlayStation, or even Dreamcast games. With discounts and depending on where you're willing to buy your new handheld, you can snag it for around $70, which is an incredible deal for a device that plays your retro favorites directly out of the box without needing any tweaking done. And besides the affordable price, I'd say that the ease of getting started with emulation is one of Anbernic's biggest advantages. Everything just works straight out of the box, hotkeys and various emulator features are already set up and ready to use. For instance, you can fast forward, rewind, create save states and more with a simple press of a button. Plus, bezels are already configured to optimize your gaming experience no matter which system or aspect ratio you're playing on. In all honesty though, I struggled to find motivation to make this review or first impressions video in the first place. It's not that the RG40XX H is a bad device, far from it, but it's just really another iteration of what we've seen before. Sure, you could say that about most handhelds these days, but I'm starting to grow tired of that being the norm. If you're itching for a new handheld and wondering if the RG40XX H is worth it, I'm definitely leaning towards saying yes. But remember, essentially it's an upgraded version of the RG35XX H, which we already know is a solid handheld. And that said, if you already own the 35XX H, there's not enough here to justify getting this one as well. The cheap price tag makes it a nice gift though. And with that said, that wraps up my quick review of the RG40XX H from Anbernic. I hope that this will be the last handheld featuring the all-winner H700 chip and that we'll see some real innovation in future devices. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, your support really makes a difference, and I'm eager to hear your thoughts on this handheld, so be sure to share them in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. Thanks for watching, Tech Cravers out.